How many of you are sometimes disappointed with our own party? It's too often in these countries that the center-right party, in our case the Republican Party, loses its way or feels like it's not the right time. One of the most important things you could do this weekend, besides giving that boost to Donald Trump, is to help give a spine and some other things to the Republican Party to do the right thing.
I wonder what other things Matt Schlapp is talking about there. And let's just talk a little bit about losing your way, because it appears that Matt Schlapp, based on some pretty serious allegations against him, has in fact lost his way. We'll see how that gets adjudicated in the courts. But as CPAC chairman Matt Schlapp kicked off their annual conference yesterday, the Alexandria City Courthouse decided to post a new batch of filings in the sexual battery and defamation lawsuit against him. Now, the accusations against him surfaced last January when a conservative political operative by the name of Carlton Huffman claimed that Schlapp sexually assaulted him in his car in October of 2022. Now, the assault occurred while Huffman was working on Herschel Walker's Senate campaign. Huffman provided text messages and other real-time communications to support his account and let others in the Walker campaign know about what happened immediately. And he also followed those claims up with a massive lawsuit against Matt Schlapp, his wife Mercedes, and also CPAC, which is set for a jury trial in June. Now, what are the new filings? That's the update to the story, of course. And so the court records show subpoenas to other key witnesses, including CPAC officials close to Matt Schlapp, Herschel Walker campaign officials who stood by Huffman, and other alleged victims dating prior to Huffman. Others have come forward and made similar allegations against Matt Schlapp. Now, this fall, Huffman's counsel subpoenaed 2 other young men who reported inappropriate sexual advances from Schlapp, and that's according to court records. One of them, who was deposed in November, according to court records, allegedly claimed that Schlapp, in his underwear, rubbed his crotch on the young man while drunk at a Palm Beach fundraising event sometime around February of 2022. The claim appears in the sealed version of Huffman's amended complaint. Also, court records confirm that a summons has gone out to Tim Miller, an openly gay political strategist who told independent outlet 24 Sight this weekend that the subpoena is likely because Huffman contacted him for advice the night of the alleged assault. So apparently he's one of the individuals that Huffman reached out to immediately after the alleged assault happened. And also 24 Sight reported that Huffman subpoenaed Fox News star Sean Hannity, whose deposition is set for March 22nd, along with former CPAC communications chief Ian Walters, I should say, who was he's gonna be deposed next Tuesday. And so it's interesting to find out who's being deposed as part of this lawsuit. There are alleged instances of Matt Schlapp and CPAC basically shredding documents. And so that information is also included in the filings. We're gonna get to that in just a moment. So please stick around for that. That's an important part of the story. But before we do, Cenk, what are your thoughts on the various individuals that have been named as witnesses who are gonna be deposed?
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker, because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now. Well, look, at this point, if you haven't figured out that Matt Schlapp is at least bisexual, you're a little slow on the uptake. How many times does he have to try to pummel someone's crotch or pummel his crotch against another male? Before you begin to realize, it appears that this guy's put aside his sexuality of which way he goes, his main MO appears to be sexual assault. Like, start with sexual assault and see how it turns out, right? And by the way, there's a reason potentially for that. When you're closeted and you're a Republican, and the official position of the Republican Party is to despise gay people, you have to kind of see do smoke signals, try to figure out how, are you also secretly gay while pretending to hate gay people? Well, here's my crotch. Would you want to pummel it? Do you mind if I pummel yours? They have to do these silly games instead of just being out and being who they are. And the CPAC then in the beginning used to be open to gay Republicans, and then they went MAGA, and then now they're against gay Republicans. That's gotta be awkward for Schlippity Schlapp. And so, and the guys that are gonna testify were at the very top of CPAC. And they don't care about Matt Schlapp's sexuality. What they care about is Zamani Lebowski and getting in legal trouble over misspending people's money. And that's my guess as to why there was the shredding that was going on.
Yes, so I do want to get to the shredding, but only on one condition, Cenk, that you stop using the word pummel in this story because it's making me very uncomfortable. Okay,
that's what the witness said. The original guy who turned him in. And by the way, that guy
is what he said. Yes.
The guy who turned him in, their favorite trick is, oh yeah, it's probably a secret lab. Yeah, it's a deep state. No, the guy is not only a lifelong Republican, worked for Herschel Walker, but also was outed, and maybe by the Schlapps, as a guy who was in favor of white supremacy. And he said, well, it was a long time ago, it was a decade ago. Okay, anyway, so my point is, the guy who outed him is definitely a right winger. He has no reason at all to attack Matt Schlapp for out of nowhere. So these stories are enormously likely to be true.
Now, the biggest bombshell in these filings was a subpoena to the CPAC official who alleged to have overseen document destruction days after the accusations against Schlapp were first reported. So the accusations are reported by the press, and just days later, all of a sudden, a lot of document shredding going on. So 3 sources familiar with the situation say that the recently subpoenaed CPAC official, manager of strategic initiatives, Lynn Rasmussen, directly oversaw interns shredding documents in or near her office shortly after the Daily Beast published Huffman's allegations. CPAC's general counsel, his name is David Safavian, was also reported to have allegedly overseen the shredding of those documents, but it is unclear if he's been subpoenaed. The interns disposed of a large number of records, according to the sources. Shredded items allegedly included some personal documents belonging to Schlapp, according to communications from a CPAC employee at the time, which were reviewed by the Daily Beast. Specifically, the communications single out parking tickets, as well as business records related to Schlapp's private lobbying outfit, Cove Strategies. Now, as you guys know, whenever there is a lawsuit, there's a process known as discovery, and you have to hand over all sorts of documents to the plaintiffs in this case, the plaintiffs' lawyers. And so I don't know if these documents had anything to do with sexual assault, but it is very likely that as part of the discovery process, other things that might be incriminating for Schlapp could be discovered, right? So there would be an interest in shredding documents if any of those documents had evidence of Schlapp's wrongdoing. It's unclear if any of those documents were actually related to the case or were regarding the organization's financial troubles, which the FBI is reportedly looking into. Former VP Charlie Gurrow, who was also subpoenaed, had previously accused Matt Schlapp of financial mismanagement when he was resigning from the organization. But still, when these documents were shredded, it was clear that legal action against Schlapp was very much pending. And so, I don't know, man. Whenever you have a situation where a bunch of documents out of nowhere are getting shredded, that does look suspicious. And we don't know what that's all about, right? So we can speculate, but I am curious to hear what kind of testimony we're gonna get from the individual who was overseeing those interns shred those documents.
Come on, I mean, you're being overly generous. Shredding documents right before a case.
Yeah, it looks bad, it looks really bad, but we don't know what's in those documents, so I'm not gonna defame anyone by claiming I do know.
Okay, all right, what is likely to be in those documents is wrongdoing, that's why they shredded them. You don't think, hey, we're being brought up on a case where these documents might get discovered. and they show what angels we are and all the money we gave to charity. Let's shred them right away.
No, Cenk, okay, how many times do I have to say?
No, I get it.
It looks shady. I don't know what's in the documents. You don't know what's in the documents. So I'm not going to purport to know. That's all I'm saying.
No, but yes. Anna, I'm not saying you have to say with specificity things you don't know, right? I'm just saying that it appears to be very clear. And in terms of why they were getting rid of evidence, which if they prove the timing on it is illegal and could get them in criminal trouble. So, yes, okay, that's very true. Important. And by the way, why is it criminal? Because if it wasn't a big deal to get rid of evidence, everybody would get rid of evidence. So that's why they made it criminal. So that's why when you shred evidence or destroy evidence before a trial or during a trial, there is an assumption that you're guilty. That is not definitive, it's just evidence. And so you can't say, hey, I shredded all the evidence, but trust me, it said I was an angel, and you're not allowed to assume that there was bad things in there. No, you are allowed to assume there were bad things in there. That's why you destroyed it. So in terms of the specifics, of course we don't know, but here, the fact that he has Cove Strategies, which is his own lobbying outfit, is super sus. Because a lot of these so-called, they're not really charities. These political groups, sometimes on the left too, but mainly on the right, are just operations to funnel money to the founders. So then they'll be like, oh yeah, we paid for Cove Strategies to do all this incredibly important political consulting. Who is Cove Strategies? Oh, coincidentally, that happens to be me, okay? So that's a common scam that's run, but we might not know because they shredded it. And remember that the other deeply right-wing guys who helped run CPAC, 2 of them stepped down because of financial mismanagement. So that's my guess as to why they were shredding throughout the night.